You do not need to spend hours in the gym to build muscle effectively. If you're pressed for time but still want to build muscle efficiently, in this video I'm going to break down exactly how you can maximize results in minimal time. In fact, with just 3 hours or even less in the gym per week, you can still experience significant muscle growth. However, efficiency is key. Every exercise, every rep, every set needs to be optimized for maximum impact, which is exactly what I'm going to be showing you in this video. First, let's talk about why efficiency is so important when building muscle with limited time. Many people have the false belief that spending more time in the gym will automatically lead to more muscle growth, which isn't necessarily true. The key is minimizing redundancy in your exercises and focusing on a training volume that stimulates growth without overwhelming your body with excess fatigue. It's a balance between training enough to stimulate growth and recovering enough to avoid overtraining. A lot of people think that by doing more exercises and more sets will automatically lead to more muscle growth, but smart programming, fewer movements, each with a specific purpose, is the real key. When structuring your workout split for maximum efficiency, a full body split done 3 times per week is the best approach. This structure allows us to train all muscle groups at a higher enough frequency to promote growth whilst avoiding overtraining by distributing our workload across the week. Instead of throwing all our volume at 1 or 2 muscle groups in one singular session, like a bro split or a push-pull leg split would do, instead, we're distributing the total volume for each muscle group across the week. This results in less post-workout fatigue while still providing us an adequate stimulus for growth in a short amount of time. Now, let's move on to structuring your training volume. How many sets and exercises should you be doing? The answer really depends on the individual, on your recovery, on your training status, and the ability to push intensity in your sessions. A good baseline for a full body workout is to select 6 to 7 exercises and perform 1 to 2 sets of each exercise. I would always recommend to start on the lower end of this range, as it's easier to overtrain, especially with a full body workout. By starting conservatively, you can monitor your recovery and adjust your volume as needed. Start with 6 exercises per workout, doing 1 working set of each. Focus on getting good at the execution first, and then you can gradually start ramping up the intensity. Only once you're proficient and your intensity is dialed in, can you think about adding in more volume to generate more stimulus, especially if your progress has plateaued. It's important not to confuse lower volumes with lower intensity. Since you'll be doing fewer sets, it's even more important to be pushing every single set hard. Every set should be performed with intensity, ideally 2 or 1 rep shy of failure. This ensures that you're activating as many muscle fibers as you possibly can, which will increase the growth stimulus. For example, if you're doing a dumbbell press, by the time you get to that last rep, you should not be able to complete another rep with proper form. If you find that you're not recovering from session to session, you can leave 1 to 2 reps in the tank to allow for better recovery. Now, let's talk about exercise selection. This is where many people go wrong. Before adding any random exercises into your routine, take a minute to assess your physique. Identify any weak points and imbalances that you might have and prioritize those areas in your training. For example, if your back is lagging behind your chest and shoulders, prioritize back work in your training. This doesn't mean just throwing a bunch of extra sets at your back. Sometimes simply placing your back exercises earlier in the workout when fatigue is low will make all the difference. Also, avoid redundancy. You don't need more than 1 exercise that targets the same muscle in the same way in a given workout. For instance, if you've already got a barbell incline press in the session, there's no need to add a dumbbell incline press in the same session. This will only lead to excess fatigue with no extra benefits. Here's an example of a full body split done 3 times per week with a focus on back and shoulders, which are 2 muscle groups that are often neglected by a lot of lifters. You'll notice that back and shoulder exercises are moved earlier on in the session for higher priority. Single joint, single limb exercises are going to increase the amount of muscle fibers being recruited, which then increases the amount of fibers receiving a growth stimulus. These exercises are chosen to avoid redundancy. This will allow us to generate enough stimulus to facilitate muscle growth whilst avoiding excess post-workout fatigue. Since we are not relying on volume alone, intensity is going to be the primary driver of growth here. Pushing each set 2 or 1 rep shy of failure ensures that you're maximizing muscle fiber recruitment without the need of excess sets and exercises. This is why training efficiency matters. Spending more time in the gym does not guarantee better results. Instead, it's about how you use that time and how much intensity you bring to each set. Throughout this video, I've emphasized fatigue minimization when structuring your training for maximum efficiency. But why is it so important? Fatigue is the #1 enemy when it comes to building muscle. Fatigue causes a temporary reduction in training performance. It affects your muscle fibers and also your central nervous system. Even if you feel like your muscles are fresh, if CNS fatigue is present from the previous workout, it is going to lower the amount of muscle fibers that are able to be recruited, which is lowering the potential for growth stimulus. That's why minimizing fatigue is so important when trying to maximize muscle growth. At the end of the day, it's not about how much time you're spending in the gym, but how you spend that time. By focusing on efficient programming, avoiding redundant exercises, and applying enough intensity to each and every set, you can absolutely achieve significant muscle growth in just 3 hours per week. If this video did help you, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on future videos. I'll see you in the next one.